In this session of the Harmony of Religions, we will explore theories and methods in the academic study of religion through introductions to the key figures who shaped the intellectual history of comparative religion, from philosophers and theologians to scholars. And in this survey, we will examine not only what religion is, but how and why we study it. Religious studies within the academy begins with a critical question. What is religion? Defining religion has been a challenge for scholars as religious belief and practice vary widely across cultures and history. This discipline seeks not only to answer what religion is, but also to investigate how religion influences human thought, behavior, and society. Historically, scholars have approached religion through philosophy, theology, sociology, anthropology, and psychology, each field framing religion with different assumptions and methods. In our holistic study, we aren't merely learning about the particulars and similarities of various religious systems. We're engaging in a process of free and open inquiry that informs a perspective on human nature and its quest for meaning. What do we become by investigating religion? We become more conscious of the profound shared human experience underlying all religious traditions. And it becomes obvious that a harmonious coexistence between people of diverse religious traditions is not only possible, but necessary for human progress. Religious literacy includes the ability to analyze the intersections of religion with social, political, and cultural life from multiple perspectives. A religiously literate individual understands the history, texts, beliefs, and practices of various religious traditions and recognizes how these elements evolve within specific social and cultural contexts. This study is both descriptive, focusing on understanding and appreciating different religious traditions, and prescriptive, advocating for the ethical role of religious beliefs in public life and fostering unity in diversity, e pluribus unum. In a pluralistic democracy in which the discourse about religion is often ill-informed and ill-mannered, religious literacy is a civic good. It nurtures compassion and cohesion among different people, and by increasing our knowledge of religious traditions, we contribute to a more respectful and inclusive society. Swami Vivekananda is best known as the star speaker at the Parliament of Religions held at the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago. Vivekananda asserted that among all the influences at play in shaping human destiny, religion is the most potent, serving as a strong foundation for social organization and binding communities. He witnessed the tensions among various religious sects, and he acknowledged the challenges of fostering unity in diversity. He said, "There have always been parties of men, philosophers, students of comparative religion who have tried and are still trying to bring about harmony in the midst of all these jarring and discordant sects. To bring harmony into religion must always be difficult, yet we shall consider this problem of the harmony of religions." The Rig Veda, perhaps the oldest scripture in the world, offers ancient insight into the nature of truth and religion. The verse Ekam Sat Vipra Pabuddha Vedanti states, "Truth is always the same everywhere. Descriptions are various. This line expresses the essence of religious pluralism, suggesting that while different people and particular cultures may articulate their perspective of truth in diverse ways, the underlying reality remains consistent. This encourages a comparative approach to the study of religion to discern the similarities that exist beneath the surface of seemingly different beliefs and practices. Different paths can lead to the same ultimate truth. Pythagoras, renowned throughout the world for the philosophical and mathematical insights gained in decades of studying the mysteries of Babylon, Egypt, and India, established a private school at Crotona where students underwent rigorous initiation and disciplined training. Aspirants faced trials and solved symbolic puzzles before being given the privilege of silent study for 2 to 5 years. Pythagoras taught lessons about the harmonic unity and diversity of the cosmos throughout cumulative stages, culminating in teachings about ethics, highlighting the importance of virtue and wisdom in the quest for perfection and knowledge of changeless truth. Herodotus, often referred to as the father of history, made early contributions to the study of comparative religion through his travelogue of the customs and beliefs of various cultures he observed. In his analysis of Greek practices, Herodotus compared Spartan and Athenian funeral customs and witnessed regional differences in worship of Demeter and the interpretation of oracles from Delphi. His studies extended beyond Greece. He noted that many Hellenic gods originated from Egypt, where he was initiated into the mysteries of Osiris. In Persia, he saw the ceremonial practices of the Zoroastrians. Ashoka the Great is an example of the philosopher king, a Rajarshi, a term that indicates the ideal governor in ancient India, a man who integrates spiritual wisdom with political authority. After his conversion to Buddhism, Ashoka adopted principles of nonviolence, compassion, and moral governance, which he promoted in his administration. His edicts emphasize ethical conduct and religious tolerance, and missionaries spread the message as far away as Syria. Ashoka declared that his sacred and gracious majesty desires that in all places should reside people of diverse religious sects. He emphasized the importance of listening to people and respecting the faith of others, asserting that honoring different beliefs enriches one's own faith. Ashoka cautioned against sectarianism, noting that to foster one's own sect, depreciating the others, is to do the worst harm to one's own sect. Euhemeros was an influential figure in the development of early comparative mythology. He is best known for his proposition that the gods of ancient cultures were originally historical figures who were later deified, a concept that provided a rational framework for interpreting myths. He proposed that many legendary stories derived from exaggerated accounts of real individuals, challenging the literal views of divine beings as superhuman entities. By interpreting myths with a historical lens, Euhemeros opened the door for critical analysis of religious narratives, encouraging a more mature view of how cultures construct their pantheons. Chrysippus was a prominent Greek philosopher and a key figure in developing Stoic thought. He emphasized principles that transcend individual sects, suggesting that some ideas are innate to all humanity, forming the foundation of what he called a natural religion. Central to Stoicism is the concept of logos, a rational, providential, divine principle that pervades the universe and governs both material phenomena and human existence. He asserts that a discernible order or natural law links human conduct and moral behavior within the harmony of the cosmos. Cicero, the eminent Roman philosopher and statesman, declares in his work on the nature of the gods that understanding the existence of the divine is not only necessary for grasping the theory of the soul, but also a prerequisite for achieving harmony among various religious beliefs. Cicero highlights the complexities involved, noting that the multitude of scholarly opinions reflects a common starting point in ignorance and confusion. Plutarch, a Greek biographer and philosopher, emphasized the importance of seeking knowledge about the divine, stating that knowledge about the existence and nature of the gods is one of the noblest pursuits for humanity. He asserts that the quest for truth, particularly concerning the divine, is a longing for a deeper connection with a sacred origin, essence, and purpose. Plutarch encourages a thoughtful approach to religious narratives, suggesting that allegories often reflect natural processes and moral struggles. His caution against interpreting myths too literally highlights the importance of figurative and critical inquiry in the study of religion, inviting us to look beyond surface level interpretations to uncover hidden meanings within religion. Strabo was a Greek geographer and historian of the ancient world. He notes that figures like Plato and the Pythagoreans viewed the universe as composed in harmony, and music as an expression and reflection of the divine. Strabo highlighted the similarity of various priestly roles across regions, recognizing the esteemed position of the bards, ovids, and druids among the Gallic people, each contributing uniquely to their society through poetry, science, and moral philosophy, and the influential role of the Brahmins in India, who served as advisors to kings. Clemens, an early Christian theologian associated with the Alexandrian school, suggests that moral philosophies from other traditions could be seen as divine gifts and a fellowship in truth. He stated, "There is one river of truth, and many streams fall into it from this side and that," which represents the idea that diverse religious traditions harmonize in a common ultimate truth. This universal perspective and desire for liberation encourages a quest for truth that transcends particular doctrines and sectarian traditions. Al-Biruni lived in Uzbekistan during the Islamic Golden Age and is often referred to as the father of comparative religion for his work interpreting various traditions and a wide range of beliefs, including Zoroastrianism, Manichaeism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, and Christianity. Notably, Al-Biruni translated the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, providing commentary, and he said that those who pursue the path to liberation and engage in the study of philosophy and theology in open inquiry have sincere reverence of the divine. Roger Bacon was a prominent English philosopher and Franciscan friar who argued that if well-prepared professors guide students, they can uncover the wisdom found in the diverse sects and ancient traditions of the East. He defended himself against possible charges of heresy and sorcery by advocating for a methodical approach to knowledge. The Venetian explorer Marco Polo contributed to cultural exchange and mutual understanding through the memoir of his travels across Asia. His encounters with Kublai Khan reveal an inclusive approach to religious pluralism. The Khan acknowledged the reverence held for various religious characters, stating, "The Christians say their God was Jesus Christ, the Saracens Muhammad, the Jews Moses, and the idolaters Shakyamuni Buddha, and I do honor and reverence to all four." Then he addresses his prayer to the greatest in heaven and more true, which is expressed through each. The Mughal Emperor Akbar is known for his inclusive approach to religious tolerance and dialogue. He established an interfaith meeting house where scholars and representatives of various religions, including Islamic Sufism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Zoroastrianism, Sikhism, and Christianity, could assemble to discuss their beliefs. Akbar stated, "I perceive that there are varying customs and beliefs of varying religious paths. I desire that on appointed days the books of all the religious laws be brought forward and that the doctors meet together and hold discussions so that I may hear them." His commitment to universal peace reflects a vision for a society where harmony prevails among diverse religious traditions, which are bound together in universal love. Matteo Ricci, an Italian Jesuit missionary to China, presented the Catholic faith through the lens of Confucian scholarship, emphasizing a respectful and culturally sensitive approach to evangelism. Ricci articulated that there is only one truth, and the way lies in harmonizing oneself with that truth. He also acknowledged the diversity of expressions within faith, stating, "People who believe in our sacred religion express their faith in different ways. Thus, although one can say that they all believe the same doctrine, one cannot say that they all have the same customs." Roberto di Nobili is deserving of the honorable mention as the first European scholar of Sanskrit and Christian missionary to identify himself thoroughly and wholeheartedly with Brahminical Hinduism. Baron Herbert wrote, "The truths which prevail everywhere are not bounded by the boundaries of any one religion." He described a common denominator that he discerned in his comparative study. There is a supreme God who is revered through repentance and virtuous action, and the conditions of life after death are determined by moral behavior here and now. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, a 17th century German philosopher and mathematician, posited a harmony between the natural and ethical worlds, asserting that God's creation is governed by both efficient causes, or natural laws, and final causes, or moral purpose. He believes that the natural world itself leads humanity toward a state of divine grace. Leibniz's correspondence with French Jesuit Joachim Bouvet shows his interest in Chinese philosophy, particularly the I Ching, which he viewed as a potential key to understanding universal truth. Leibniz envisioned a peaceful future for the world where conflicts could be resolved through calculus or logical reasoning. Voltaire, the Enlightenment philosopher and writer, was a fierce advocate for reason, religious tolerance, and freedom of thought. He explored the customs and beliefs of various civilizations, asserting that the concept of a supreme God was nearly universal across cultures. Voltaire observed that ancient philosophers, whether Babylonians, Persians, Egyptians, Greeks, or Romans, acknowledged the existence of a supreme, judging, and rewarding deity, though they often kept this knowledge hidden from the masses, revealing it only through initiation in a mystery school. He argued that this truth, the belief in a supreme God, spread across many parts of the world through a plurality of religious traditions, creating a vast global diffusion of diverse traditions with a similar religious view. David Hume, a key figure of the Scottish Enlightenment, approached the study of religion with a critical and philosophical lens in his work. He distinguished between two important questions: the foundation of religion in reason and its origin in human nature. While he acknowledged that nature's complexity suggests an intelligent creator, Hume found the question of religion's origins in human psychology more challenging. He observed that the belief in invisible, intelligent power, what many would consider the divine, has been widespread across cultures and ages, though not entirely uniform in expression. Hume considered this tendency toward this belief as a mark imprinted on humanity by the Creator. Yet he lamented that popular religions often disfigure the divine, presenting distorted representations of God. His work invites reflection on how human nature shapes religion and challenges us to reconcile the sublime with the often flawed representations of the divine in various religious traditions. Hegel, the German idealist, viewed religious knowledge as more than a rational investigation of the attributes of divinity or a matter of historical study. For Hegel, religion stimulates the heart, influences our emotion, and guides our will. His philosophy stressed the idea that religion and philosophy are intertwined. Both seek the absolute truth, transcending individual truth or subjective opinions. Hegel studied a wide range of religious traditions, from Confucianism and Taoism to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, seeking their perspectives to the human search for the absolute. For Hegel, the ultimate goal of both religion and philosophy is to know the highest, or the absolute, which is synonymous with God or divinity. He believed that the desire to know God drives both faith and philosophy, as both are expressions of humanity's pursuit of universal truth. William Blake, the visionary English poet and artist, presented a radical view of religion and human creativity in his work, All Religions Are One. Blake attributed all religions and philosophies to the same source, the poetic genius, which he identified as the true essence of humanity. He argued that all outward forms of religious and philosophical thought are expressions of the poetic genius, adapted to the needs and weaknesses of each individual and culture. Blake saw the poetic genius as the spirit of prophecy, common to all nations, from which every religious tradition draws its power. Thomas Jefferson, one of America's founding fathers and a key figure in the Enlightenment, emphasized the importance of religious freedom as a cornerstone of a just society. In the Declaration of Independence, Jefferson famously stated that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. His commitment to religious freedom is further reflected in the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, which protected people of all faiths, including the Jew and the Gentile, the Christian and the Mohammedan, the Hindu and infidel of every denomination. As a deist, Jefferson wrote of nature's God, a creator who established the universe and endowed humans with the freedom to choose their religious beliefs. While he rejected the idea of divine intervention in human affairs, Jefferson appreciated wisdom from various traditions. His correspondence with John Adams included discussions of the Vedas and Pythagoras, and his personal library contained texts such as the Manusmriti and the Quran. Jefferson also compiled the philosophy of Jesus of Nazareth, focusing on moral teachings rather than exotic elements. Hannah Adams was the first American woman to work as a published writer. Her book, A View of Religions, gives a polemical account of the decline of monotheism into idolatry and claims that religious diversity would end in a moment of Christian unity. Thomas Maurice saw similarities between the Bible and the Vedas, which he attributed to the shared origins of humanity as described in Genesis. He also compared Brahmins to Druids. Joseph Priestley located the divergence of humanity into different religious traditions at the biblical flood. He also invented soda water. The Transcendentalists interpreted Hindu religion as a metaphysical philosophy and contemplative practice that satisfied a need for sacred experience lacking in American Protestantism. Ralph Waldo Emerson preached Vedantic concepts. He wrote, "In all nations, there are minds which incline to dwell in the conception of fundamental unity." Henry David Thoreau read and quoted from Vedic texts and expositions of Vedanta. Brahmanism, as conceived by the Transcendentalists, was the prehistoric spiritual ancestor of Euro-America. In 10 Great Religions, James Freeman Clarke compares Christianity to the beliefs of Confucianism, Taoism, Brahmanism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, Egypt, Greece, Rome, Scandinavia, Judaism, and Islam. Madame Helena P. Blavatsky presented her Theosophical Society as custodians of ageless wisdom from India and champions of a universal religion and perennial philosophy not exclusive to Hindus. Her comparative survey, The Secret Doctrine, focused on the similarities between Babylon, Egypt, and elsewhere, including Rosicrucianism and Freemasonry, the legacy and the influence of theosophy in the formation of the academic discipline of comparative religion and foundations of critical theory in the humanities has only been recently recognized. As an academic discipline, the study of religion is framed by key theorists whose ideas and interpretations establish the terms of inquiry, define the borders of religious study, and offer paradigms that all future scholars must in one way or another engage, endorse, or critique. Each theory is a unique lens of questions and definitions through which to view religion, its nature, scope, and significance. Frederick Max Mueller called myth a disease of language and advocated for a scientific approach in the study of comparative religion. He called for an objective examination of religions in search of universal elements, patterns, and principles requiring systematic inquiry grounded in evidence and critical analysis. He said, "The science of religion may be the last of the sciences which man is destined to elaborate, but when it is elaborated, it will change the aspect of the world and give new life to Christianity." He explicitly referred to Brahmanical theosophy and unity with God as the culmination of the history of religion and as the alternate name for his own project. He wrote the first biography of Sri Ramakrishna as described to him by Swami Vivekananda. Edward Burnett Tyler proposed a principle of psychic unity, which assumes that all humanity shares a fundamental cognitive framework, differing only in degree of expression according to culture and individual. Tyler's emphasis on intellectual evolution depends on a linear development over time. His concept of origins and survivals explains how ancient customs and beliefs persist through habit into contemporary cultures that have progressed beyond those modes and manners. Emile Durkheim shifted the study of religion towards analyzing its social functions and structures. He argued that while it is good to know the specifics of individual religions, it is more important to comprehend religion as a universal phenomenon underlying human experience. He interpreted religion as shared attitudes towards sacred objects, places, and persons, which serve to unite individuals into cohesive groups. His concepts of the totemic principle and concrete image illustrate how symbols create a collective identity. James George Frazer identified two primary laws governing magical practices which are foundational to religion. The law of similarity, which suggests that like produces like, and the law of contact, where objects once in contact continue to influence one another. Frazer's analysis extends to agrarian fertility gods, emphasizing reproductive symbolism associated with the cycles of death and rebirth in nature. Furthermore, he examined the ritualistic origins of the divine right of kings. Max Weber introduced the concept of charismatic authority and emphasized the importance of ideal types, which are a purposeful exaggeration or maximum outline into which all cases can be brought for analysis. Weber argued that ecstatic states put people beyond the realm of everyday activity, and those who can manage it on a regular basis are naturally regarded as having special talent. Unlike priests who hold formal roles within religious institutions, or magicians who operate outside of those structures, prophets convey divine messages or visions of truth as a voice of God, a role more demanding than a statesman, artist, intellectual, or warrior, requiring profound personal commitment and dedication to fulfill their mission. Karl Marx and Sigmund Freud approached religion through critique of its role in societal dynamics and individual psychology. Marx argued that economic realities shape human behavior, and religion functions as an opiate that provides false relief from inequality and exploitation in class struggles. Freud viewed religion as an unhealthy projection of human desire for parental security and comfort in a threatening world. In the varieties of religious experience, William James delves into the subjective nature of religious phenomena, emphasizing the significance of individual feelings and acts. He contrasts healthy-mindedness with the divided self and asserts that religion is rooted in personal experiences of unity and conversion, where previously peripheral religious ideas become central to one's identity. His insight reveals that these profound mystical states are authoritative to those who experience them and shape the trajectory of their lives and character. In The Idea of the Holy, Rudolf Otto argues that without religion, humanity's intellectual life lacks the most enriching component for true cultural depth and authenticity. He introduces the concept of holiness as a unique category in religion, distinguishing it from mere goodness. Instead, holiness evokes a numinous state, an intuitive awareness of our creature consciousness and the overwhelming sense of the holy other. This leads to the experience of the mysterium tremendum et fascinans, a terrifying yet awe-inspiring enigma. Otto asserts that this numinous experience is the center of all religions, representing the innermost essence. He emphasizes that ordinary language often fails to capture the qualities of divinity, necessitating the use of imagery and figurative language to express the ineffable. Mircea Eliade articulates a distinction between the sacred and profane realms, where the sacred is characterized by cyclical time, full of meaning and order, while the profane is linear, mundane, and often chaotic. Through rituals, humans participate in sacred time, effectively transcending historical time and immersing themselves in the divine rhythm of existence. He introduces the concept of hierophany, where the sacred manifests in the world, revealing the divine to humanity. This is complemented by theophany, which refers to the appearance of a deity or divine incarnation. Eliade interprets symbols and myths as conveying universal messages that transcend individual cultures. He introduces the idea of the eternal return, illustrated by the lunar cycle, which symbolizes death and rebirth. Joseph Campbell outlines the narrative structure of the hero's journey through three pivotal stages: separation, initiation, and return. The hero departs from their familiar world, often facing challenges that set them on a path of transformation. The initiation involves trials or ordeals where the hero confronts fears and gains experience through encounters with mentors and adversaries. This is a stage of personal growth and discovery, followed by a return, often fraught with challenges, as the hero must integrate their newfound wisdom and abilities in everyday life. The mystical function of myth inspires awe and reconciles our waking consciousness with the universe's enigmatic beauty, evoking a sense of wonder about existence. The cosmological function explains the universe's origins and nature's processes. Sociologically, myths help individuals identify their roles within the social order and ethical systems. Lastly, the psychological function nurtures character development, guiding us through life stages and fostering a harmonious relationship between the individual culture and the transcendent spirit. In the interpretation of cultures, Clifford Geertz presents religion as a complex system of symbols that shapes human experience through powerful moods and concepts of a general order of existence. This lends a unique realism to the beliefs and feelings they inspire. Geertz states, "Man is an animal suspended in webs of significance he himself has spun," highlighting how individuals create meaning within their cultural contexts. Jonathan Z. Smith provocatively asserts that religion is a construct of scholarly inquiry and does not exist independently of academic study. He challenges scholars to rigorously articulate their choices in examining religious phenomena, insisting that each exemplum, whether a common story or an exotic event, must be grounded in a well-defined theoretical framework. Smith outlines three essential criteria for this process: a comprehensive understanding of primary materials and their historical interpretations, a clear alignment of the exemplum with a specific theory or question, and a method for evaluating its relevance to the broader discourse. The post-colonial critique of religion asserts that the term religion is not a neutral category, but rather an imposed classification from ethnographic practices aimed at domination and exploitation. This critique argues that the academic study of religion relies on a limited conceptual framework that has been stagnant since the mid-20th century. Scholars contend that the notions of the religious perspective and authorizing discourse are often ambiguous, leading to what some describe as sheer intellectual confusion. Moreover, the idea of pure, unmediated knowledge is deemed untenable. Advocates for this perspective argue that the literary essay is the most effective form of criticism in religious studies. In his negation of the secularization thesis, Jason Ananda Storm argues that our comprehension of religion is often hindered by an inherent nihilism within modern techno-industrial culture. In acknowledging that social constructions do not equate to non-existence or unreality, Storm critiques the hermeneutics of suspicion for questioning everything but itself. He asserts that if our experiences are indeed mediated by linguistic categories, then the solution lies not in despair, but in a call to action for poets and wordsmiths, an integration of stigmatized and rejected knowledge, especially theosophy. Western esotericism, often relegated to the margins of academic discourse, has gained legitimacy through the work of pioneering scholars who argue for the tradition's rightful place in intellectual history. This forbidden knowledge represents a distinct worldview which intertwines religion with philosophy, science, and art. Houston Smith is a champion of perennialism and urged scholars to prioritize similarities among faiths rather than get lost in their differences. By advocating for a more imaginative approach, Smith encourages a comprehension of timeless principles across diverse traditions and universal truth which exists independently of human perceptions. It is our task to align ourselves with truth. In this context, comparative religion serves as a tool for interpreting and transmitting this enduring truth expressed in diverse traditions. Aldous Huxley's minimum working hypothesis states that there is an immanent and transcendent Godhead, and unity with Godhead is the final end and purpose of human life. There is a law to obey if this end is to be reached. Religion is etymologically related to Latin words that mean to think twice or read again, also to bind together or unite. Swami Vivekananda says that religion is realization of the potential divinity of the soul through work, devotion, prayer, and study. And these methods, by one or more or all, is the means to liberation. Swami Vivekananda denounced sectarianism, bigotry, and fanaticism, viewing them as obstacles to human progress. He lamented how these forces have historically filled the world with violence, thwarting the advancement of civilization and leading to despair. In his vision for a more harmonious future, he taught that individuals of different faiths need not abandon their traditions. Rather, they should embrace the spirit of one another while maintaining their unique identities. Swami Vivekananda identified a universal religion that harmonizes principles, mythology, and ritual, and he proposed an ideal of philosophy, science, and poetry. Vivekananda asserted that the study of comparative religion reveals an essential unity among various traditions and celebrated variation as a sign of life, advocating for religious pluralism, acceptance, and inclusion. He regarded all traditions as a blend of work, devotion, prayer, and study, with an emphasis on either dualism, qualified monism, or non-dualism. His guru, Sri Ramakrishna, said, "Find God. That is the only purpose in life. Be illumined." Sri Ramakrishna's wife, Sarada Devi, said, "Look here, I never felt that Sri Ramakrishna practiced all the religions with the intention of teaching the harmony of religions. He was always immersed in God consciousness."